This meeting is being recorded. two sites, okay? Number one is I'm going to take you to kellerinc.com. All right, here's kellerinc.com. Now on kellerinc.com, for anybody who has a anybody so we have information. A, we can send you all the links to everything, and then I will draw at the end. Somebody will get a copy of MREI because the first 170 pages of this book are gold on how to actually invest in real estate. Okay? So, but kellerinc.com, there are several books. If you go to the resources tab, all right, you'll see the Millionaire Real Estate Investor, and you'll see all these free worksheets. MREI, buy and sell worksheet. MREI, buy and hold worksheet. Download it. And then you have to learn how to fill it out. Download them. They're free. It's going to ask you every question you need to know about properties. And this is my favorite one for flipping. Okay, if you're actually looking to flip, then my second favorite one is actually what's above it. I'm doing this backwards. There. Yeah, it's hold. The 30-year hold analysis is fantastic. So you click on the book hold from this website, and you go down the 30-year note, and it's an Excel spreadsheet. And it's going to ask you every single question you need to know about a property. Right? How much you pay? Where are the taxes? What's insurance? I don't know. Guess what? You have to call an insurance agent and be like, how much do you charge? $180,000 house, 2 baths in this neighborhood. And your insurance agent will tell you. That's we have to do it first. Right? Again, now we all know this stuff enough to do ballparks on these things. You have to answer all these questions. You're not going to know a lot of the answers. That's okay. You start. It might take you 3 hours to fill it out the first time. Just like writing your name the opposite way. But you're going to get better at it. You're going to get faster at it. You're going to ask better questions. Okay? Spoiler alert. The houses that generally appreciate the least, cash flow the best. Let me say it again. The houses that cash flow the best usually appreciate the least. Because if I get $800 a month in rent on a house that was worth $80,000, that's a lot of cash flow. Because I can only get $1,400 a month on a house that costs $150,000. And when you do that, you learn real quick that income has cash flow better than the other one. Then you have this question. Are you okay owning properties that might not quite be safe? Right. Also don't go up in value very much. And we are not here to tell you who do that or not do that. The numbers will give you the numbers, and you let your conscience be your guide on what you care about most. Any comments on that?
You're absolutely right. I think when you're first getting started, better properties. It's not, as we said at the very beginning, it becomes about what is the day and what appreciates the best. Yeah.
It can be a challenge, and you have to have that conversation with yourself. But you can't do that until you start analyzing properties and looking at them. I'm just telling you, the cheaper houses in the cheaper neighborhoods rent are almost the same stuff in nicer neighborhoods. A lot less. That means it's going to cash flow a lot. Just what the value is like. And we're not here to tell you which one's better. That is That is a decision that you will eventually have to make on your own for yourself. Okay? I can say this. When you are first starting, cash flow is king. Cash flow, if you have extra money coming in, you have the ability to save it and or use it on that property or other things. There are people who buy houses for appreciation and no cash flow, and that's great if they have a nest egg of money so that when they do need a roof, do need an HVAC, or the tenant leaves 2 months early, and you don't know about it, but you should. And it's vacant. The electric bill's in your name, the water bill's in your name, or as one of my absolutely coup de grace favorite moments of being a landlord, when somebody decides to pour cement down your toilet. Just because. What? What? So we got lucky. They were dumb enough that it was actually totally almost empty, so the cement never, we take the toilet off and it actually never made it anywhere. It didn't go all the way through. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, we were. Yeah, because I think they actually like went to the bathroom in it and like thankfully anyway. I mean like, but if you have cash flow a month, which I'll show you, okay, it makes it easier, right, to absorb things like that. If you're assuming, oh, it's going to appreciate in value, it's going to appreciate in value, appreciate value. Appreciation you can't put in your bank and spend. Appreciation you can't have in the bank to spend when the property is vacant. Does that make sense? So when you start out, because you have no money, cash flow is king. You gotta have cash flow, right? Appreciation is awesome. But until you have this thing called reserves and cash flow to create that, that's number one. Okay, and it really is number one overall with real estate, just in general, right? Anything you can get your hands on, you really, really is key. Okay. But that's just kind of a general comments from you guys on that.
I think people get in trouble when they have this, they think that the deal is kind of spit out the way the spreadsheet works, and then 10 leads, 1 month, 2 month, it doesn't pay, whatever. You have to consider what's spreadsheet gets you in the ballpark, gets you all based on the numbers, but I think you have to just, you got to know what your cash flow is, your job, your W-2, or whatever, to just not over leverage yourself on the first deal. I think a lot of people, they jump in, they over leverage the first deal, they never even buy the second, third deal, right? So you should figure out what you are, what's your risk, level is before you jump into it. Or get a partner that does what they're doing and has more money into it.
Yeah. So yeah. Here again. I'm going to show you one spreadsheet. Okay. By the way, is this valuable so far? You guys getting some information? Okay. And again, we're going to share all these things because the last one we're going to end on is money. Right? Seems like I can hear all out. Money, right? It's the key. So I just downloaded this 30-year worksheet. Okay. And this is what it looks like. All right. I can get it over here. Come on, baby. Here we go. Now, this is the free one. I'm also going to show you my favorite one, which is actually from Bigger Pockets. The Bigger Pockets one is superior, costs money. Okay? You only do 3 a month. And by the way, when they say 3 a month, if you try to erase all the people's spreadsheet to do it again, they know you get to do 3. You don't get to erase everything and do the same one over again. So I like this one only because it's a free version. Okay. So this price could be what they're asking for. What you care about is what's called fair market value, or what we like to use is ARV. After rehab value is the sign that we use. After rehab value. Fair market value, ARV, nobody cares what's listed. No offense. Nobody cares what's listed. What's the thing really worth, right? Well, and what's it worth fixed up? Now there's catch 22. ARV, after rehab value. Well, what is your, and this is going to be like a black hole, but you're going to have fun for a second. After rehab value, fixed up. What's your definition of fixed up? How do you define what is fixed up? How do you define what is fixed up?
Neighborhood.
Would be super nice. I don't know, a lot of money fixing them.
Yeah, you got to do
We
range.
have inspections and we go professionals checking everything usually. That's how we do our rentals as well. We get more rent, but then again, we're having a hard time people being able to pay their rent. It, you know, maybe it's a negative at the moment.
I'm going to give you guys a dead deal free card. Okay? This is when you need a really good real estate agent, like Jason, like us, that's going to actually show you, not give you their opinion, because our opinion, all the way data, we can show you homes in that area, what they're selling for. You can see the fit and finish. You can see it. They don't have rent. They have tile, they don't have tile, right? They have carpet, right? But they have, what is the fit and finish and what is it selling for? So to answer the question of what is the ARV, the ARV needs to match what other properties have been selling for in that neighborhood. Okay, does that make sense? And that varies per neighborhood. Okay? So for example, we bought a single wide trailer up in Reedsville. You might be shocked to know that we did not put granite in that kitchen. We've seen people do it though. No, we've seen it, right? I've seen people do it, right? I'm like, I don't need to. I don't need it. I'm like, I don't need it. It will sell faster. It's not selling for more. It's selling for what it's selling for, right? I mean, I get it. I'm like, you, right? You don't have to, right? I mean, so you just got to know the market and a good agent, right? And you can do it, frankly, with let an agent help you because they're going to be ideally the one selling for you if you sell retail. So let them have skin in the game with you. Okay? So it's got to be fixed up to the level of whatever. So ARV is whatever the level is in that neighborhood. Okay? So I'm just going to make up some numbers for fun. Mainly, I'd love to go back to the one that Launcher had, but I'm not going to go bouncing back and forth. So I'm just going to pick a house right now for fun. I'm going to make up some numbers. I'm going to say, okay, ARV is $225,000. So you can see how this works. Okay? Now it's going to say, you know, what do I want to get it for? Well, clearly, 10% off what I get it. All right? Now, here's what we do. General rule of thumb is you got to figure out what the ARV is first. ARV is what? After value. And when do you figure that out? First. You got to know what the end game is first. You don't back into it. You got to go, here's what this is worth. Right? You got to have that first. Or this game doesn't work. I don't care what you're asking for. What I care is, if I fix this up, what will it sell for? You got to have that number first. Now the game comes in, you go, oh, how much money do I want to make? Another rule of thumb is you better make at least $25,000 or why are you doing this? Because oops, these things called oopses happen. You guys ever have oopses?
Yes, but we have a cost.
Of course not. No, you ever had oopses?
The rehab, you know, we can take bets and it depends on the rehab.
Yeah,
You
and the
can-
time.
They're in and out in 2 weeks. will take 10,000 profit, 50,000 profit.
Yep.
There's
Yeah.
also, there's 6 months, and you calculate the time.
You calculate your time.
Another 6 houses instead of this one house. So you gotta calculate that.
So one of the things you got to figure out is what's going to be the cost to make ready repairs. Like how much is it going to cost to repair? Your first challenge is going to be like, I don't know. I don't know. So you have to take a contractor with you or somebody that knows how to do everything. And you got to go, how much is it going to cost to make this happen? You can take a listing. Swear to God, you get the pictures of a listing that's sold and go, how much is it going to cost for this kitchen, for this house, right? It looks like that. I'm serious. It can be that simple, but you got to do it. You got to walk in there. I don't know. I need it to look like this. What's it going to cost to make it look like that? Hold the bathroom cooker. How do you make the bathroom look like this? I'm serious. Like sometimes it's just, but you got to get somebody else to give you these numbers, figure them out. But once you've done a half bath, right? Half bath. A full bathroom, slide in fiberglass tub and pedestal sink by itself. You gotta know what that doesn't change. But you got to do it. Once you do it, then you just you start counting the numbers. So you have to figure out the make, how much is this thing going to cost? Right? I don't know. So I'm going to say this place is not great. I'm going to say it needs like roof, HVAC, both bathrooms, kitchen, paint, carpet, landscaping. Let's just say $60,000. Is about right? All right? See, I'm serious. Like when you start doing this, you're just like, I just said a thing. You're like, that's right. So I'm gonna say 60 right now. So I'm gonna, it's gonna be 60 grand. Well, it's only worth 225. So I gotta back out 60 right off the top. Right, and I want to make some money. I want to get better than that. Okay. So I'm like, man, I definitely can't do 25. Whew, man, I'm already down to 165. So I'm gonna be like, well, let's see what 140 does. Right? Let's see what 140 does. Now, percent down, all right, it's gonna be what's called down payment. Now you want to put down 0. Fortunately, Tina will not let you borrow all the money. So Tina, if I'm going to borrow, how much could I borrow from you? Get 75%, 80%, 65%?
Up to 85%.
85%. Well, now, caveat, she's loaning you 85% of the 140, not all the money that you got to put in it to fix it up. Okay, so 15%. 90%. So what's happening right now is, right? I know that I think the fair market value of this property is 225. I know I'm not paying more than 140. I'm putting down 50%, which is 21,000. So I'm financing 119. Now, don't forget, I've also got 60 grand coming out of my pocket. Now, you're already wondering, you're saying, I don't have the money. You don't have to have the money. If this is a good deal, you can go to anybody else and be like, hey, I found this deal. I need to borrow $80,000. Like, all right, well, I'm partners with you all. Right? Or sell to me. Here, walk away. Here's $10,000. Walk away. That's how this works. So eventually you'll have it. But I'm going to make the interest rate right now. What's the interest rate roughly?
I would say it's at least
8, 7.5,
Yeah.
8. No,
Say
8.25.
Say A.
I don't care. I don't care what it is. See, I'm not tied to the outcome. I don't care what the numbers are. Whatever they are, plug them in. Plus 8%. Okay. 8% interest rate. All right, we're going to do a 30-year loan. So congratulations, we filled out most of the information. Start getting a feel. Now, this is the whole book. That works. So this is the 3-2. It's the 3-2 with OP neighborhood. All right, it's not fantastic. Great, okay, right? So how much do you think a 3-2? By the way, rental meters, another great website if you want to go. You can look at rentalmeter.com. You can also just call Marathon Properties or any management company. call them and go, hey, if I have a house at this address, this location, it's in this condition, how much would you rent it out for? What's that? Right? So if I've got vinyl, 3-bedroom, 2-bath box, 1,500 square feet, right? 1,500, right? Yeah, all right. Let's go 1,450, shall we? On the rent. All right, so speaking of monthly rent, now this particular one will let you do up to a fourplex. We don't have a 4-step 1. We're doing a single family house. All right, now there's this thing called vacancy rate. Quick question. If somebody moves out on January 31st, do you think a new tenant can move in February 1st? No, no, that does not. Because people don't leave the place spotless and clean, perfect, do they? Okay. So how long do you think it's going to be vacant? This is called the term. The term of property from when the last person was in it so the next person can move in it, and you want that to happen as soon as humanly possible. And it's 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks is the goal. 2 weeks is the goal. Depending on if they put cement in the toilets, or if, right, or really, does he use carpet, right? It's probably also all costs money, doesn't it? Cleaning, right? So, I, conservative me, always make my vacancy rate 8%. Somebody asked me why 8%. 29 days, 1 month. Because if the cash flows, if a month of being vacant, 2 weeks means I got extra money. You with me? If I make mine conservative, I think, man, I need 2 weeks to clean it up. I need 2 weeks to find somebody else in. So I'm losing February's rent. Who's paying February's rent? Me. But no, I'm not, because when I do this, guess what happens? Tenant's money on this spreadsheet disappears. Instead of making $1,450 a month, I'm making $1,334 a month. So I've got, okay, $150 a month. It disappeared. I didn't even have it. Because that's that mortgage payment up there. Guess what's going to happen? When I need to make that mortgage payment, I'm using the money left over from here. It's already accounted for. I'm not using my money ever again if I can help it. And I'm using it. This is how you get wealthy in this country. Now, so I got this annual rent. Now, are you using a property manager or are you not using a property manager? Let me ask this question. Do you want a phone call at midnight or 1 a.m. when their toilet does not work?
You still get the vote regardless.
I don't get the call.
Well,
I don't get the call.
it depends on, I mean, like, you go out over there.
Ah. See, I love those guys. Maybe they're over repairs, so you get the call.
We do get some manager, but then we get you for it.
You get the call.
Still.
So if you are like me, and if somebody can't pay their rent because they're going to have a story, and they're going to a story, and you are like me, you're going to be too nice and be like, yeah, I get it, right? Sure, yeah, I can wait, right? Get a card. Ooh, love, yeah, never explain payment. Like, my wife and I were shooting nice calls, like, look, this happened, that happened, my baby's in the hospital, this and that. I'll be like, yes, I understand. Let me donate you some money to take care of your bills. You know, let me help you. Oh my God, it's horrible. My God. So I have to have an insulation between me. I am serious. I will be like, oh my God, let me help you raise money. Look at it, right? You are okay, right? And I'm sorry, I'm going to sound very cool when I say this. The minute you do it once, game over. It sucks. But the minute you think you're being nice once, it is game over. That is your life with that person for the rest of their time. So I have a private manager. All right, I do. And now this box on the expenses, only caveat, you got to put in annual. So you got to put in what the annual expenses are going to be. Okay. All right. Get out. messing with it. Get out of here. Oh, control. I like it. No, that's all right. You guys are all just messing with me now, aren't you? All right. So what I do is for private management fees, they can be anywhere from 7 to 10%. Okay, right. Anywhere from 7 to 10%. So you look at the annual income, not the vacancy rate income, the annual income, and it's going to be 4%, right? So I know I'm paying them that much. Now, there's also sometimes it's going to divide it out monthly for you. Now, sometimes major companies are the leasing cost. The leasing cost is the cost to set up the account. The cost is to actually find a tenant. Now, if you find a tenant, right, sometimes you get the leasing cost paid because you did the work of set up and run. Okay, but there is a leasing cost sometimes. Okay, now there's this thing called a maintenance reserve. What do you think a maintenance reserve is for? So in case something breaks. Do you think things break? Yeah. Another tip: if you ever buy a home, take garbage disposal out. Never, ever, ever, ever have a garbage disposal in a rental unit. They treat it like it is the garbage can. Take it out. They don't need it. Take it out. Do you have to garbage disposals?
I got shotgun broken in there, friend, it wasn't working.
Take them out
Uh,
of every rental you ever had. Pasta. Yeah, just take them out. One of the best tips I ever got, take them out. Other tip is if you ever get a dishwasher, do not put a dishwasher in a rental with all of the buttons on the top. Guess what happens? Water and stuff gets in the ones on the top because they actually open the door all the time. Things, steam gets in and they die. Get one of the cheapest boilerplate with buttons on the front dishwasher. Third, don't get a glass cooktop. Get the ugliest eye stove. Remember the old eyes you could plug in and plug out on the stove? Remember those? Yeah, they were great. You know why? When they damage those, you buy take one and put it back in, it works. You know what happens when they actually crack the glass top on the stove? You have to replace the stove. I'm just a few little, just like these are like just little things because like you learn with a rental, I'm not getting more money on the rent than the last cooktop. It's not. I'm not. I'm not getting 25 bucks more money.
Luckily, we now have the Lowe's outlet right now.
Oh yeah, baby.
Which is just amazing.
Yeah.
I was like a kid.
Yep.
I literally called my handyman, like, stop what you're doing with the truck and the trailer. And I got 2 sets of appliances, and it was like,
Yep.
place is big.
True. So maintenance reserves is a part of the rent you want to keep set aside for a roof repair, right? Eventual HVAC, things of that nature, right? Also, paint carpet for the tenant, right? When they move out, like you want to use some of that. So generally speaking, I'm conservative. Depending on the condition of the property, I want it to be 5 or 10%. It's a lot of money, okay? Because again, you don't have money to start out with, right? If you have reserves, these things don't matter, but I want to have it. So right now, just for fun, we're like, well, I'm going to leave 800 bucks a year for that. Now, utilities, yes. When the tenant return happens, do you think the person cleaning and fixing up the house is going to need electricity and water? Guess whose name that's going to be in? Yours. Write this down. When you buy the property, you want to create a landlord account. Landlord account. Here's why. Guess what happens if you don't make a landlord account and the tenant moves out in the middle of the night and it's winter? Guess what happens to electricity? It gets turned off. Now, do you think there's a chance those pipes might freeze? Uh-huh. You get a landlord account for all the utilities. Guess what happens? Oh, this is it automatically switches to your name automatically, so there's no connection fee. But more importantly than that, you, as the landlord, get notified that the tenant is turning off their utilities. So now you know when they're moving out.
We have to do it for property,
Yes. Yes.
so
It's the same account.
Same account.
Yeah, but it's like, it's not with new power. You have new power, but there's different addresses.
You have to tell them for each address.
For each address.
You have to tell them for each address. I want a landlord account. You already, so you got something from here. Cool.
We'll learn. I mean,
Sweet, right? Now, it's huge because again, you will learn like, oh man, I didn't know the power's out, right? And also, if you're out, you need someone to get in there and do work on it, right? I mean, these guys keep going in the middle of the night if the power's out. And sometimes there's leaks, there's floods, they need power freaking fast. Okay? So the landlord account, it never goes off, you never pay the connection fee, it just swaps back to the tenant, swaps back to you, and that you get notified. It's a beautiful thing. Okay? Thank you. All right, so anyway, but every property, I always put in at least a couple $100 for utilities. All right, then I got property taxes. A house like this, 225,000, probably gonna have roughly 1,800 to $2,000, maybe 2,200, depending on the city or county. 2,200 times 2,200 on taxes. Okay. All right, insurance. Insurance on this is gonna be roughly about 1,100 bucks. Is that right? Because you always want to have it right now. Are there any HO fees, lawn care, trash? Yes, lawn care. When the tenant moves out, who has to take care of the lawn? You do. All right. I do at least 150 bucks a year for that. Okay. So here's my expenses. So what happens on this form? It breaks into two different categories, or actually three different categories. It's going to tell you everything you need to know. First thing, is the mortgage payment fixed? That's why it is up here in your top category. It's a fixed expense. Do you think that the monthly rent could change? Right. Do you think that the taxes could change? Right. Do you think maintenance expenses could change? All the things. So the reason the mortgage payment is up there by itself, right, is it's fixed. It's a loan. It's a loan. And also, it's going to show you what you could do with this property, pay cash versus having a mortgage. Because even if you don't have a mortgage, you just have to pay the taxes. Yeah. Right? Unfortunately. So, what it's telling you is, it's saying this is the mortgage payment. It's saying this is the net rental income. It's getting rid of, right, $1,382, because I want to cover all my expenses when this person moves out. All right. Now, below here, this is your total unfixed or expenses that change, right? Leasing costs, maintenance reserves. So $500 a month. So my net operating income, meaning if I had no mortgage, this property would make me $818 a month, because these are all my expenses. I take subtract out all these expenses, and I get what's called a net operating income. But we have, so if I paid cash, this would be one of the ways I figure out this thing called a cap release, which is how you decide, oh, is this house a good deal or not? Okay, it's one of the ways. But we, Tina's not letting us get out of here without paying that mortgage, right? So the mortgage is $873. So, but the net operating income, so this place is actually going to lose $55 a month. Now remember, it's actually losing $55 a month. I got maintenance reserves. I took out reserves for vacancy, right? I got all the other things. Okay, so I got a very conservative approach on this property. Okay, and I had to use $81,000 of my own money. But the minute I raise the rent, all of a sudden it can cash flow. This might be a good deal, might not be a good deal, right? But I want you to hold the numbers. What if you get 350 a month? What if you only have to buy it for 20 grand less? Because here's the best part. It does all the work for you. The thing down here, the second tab says hold ROI. And this shows you why real estate rocks. Because even losing 55 bucks a month on paper, okay, all right, here is the net operating income that I'm paying down the debts. I'm paying down $994 of the mortgage. Mortgage is getting down. Pay down the mortgage. Get it! Right? Now, this is fixed on a very slow thing. It's a 3% increase in rent, 4.4% appreciation of the property. That's two givens on this on the sheet. Now, I paid this much interest. Is interest deductible off your taxes? It is. Right? So the net cash flow is only 660. But did the place go up in value? And have I paid down $994 in debt? Yeah. The appreciation in 1 year is going to be $9,900. Right? Because I go 225, 4%. So the place went up $9,000. All right, here's the end of year value, okay? And cost of sales if it's sold, which we don't care about, we're not selling. So even at the end of 1 year, having no cash flow, all right, my net return is 10 grand. I made 13% on my money. And I'm not even calling this a great deal. That's just year one. Because next year, I get the 4% appreciation on this amount, not the 225. So at the end of year two, my annual return, I'm getting 11,000. I've also got more debt paid down. I've also increased the rent. When you start looking at these informations, when you get down to year 7 or 8 on this thing, it's like you're printing money. I'm getting a 20% return. And then I start getting this thing called a cash on cash return, which is what my money is. Now, when we first bought them, we did not buy anything that did not have an annual ROI of a minimum of 20% and the cash on cash return, meaning my $81,000 I made had to be 10%. And I said to my coach at the time, I said, that's impossible. I can't find it. It doesn't exist in my mind. I said it for 9 months. And then I went out and did it 13 times. Okay? So this is just one of the forms. Again, you sign up for that sheet, because we're going to be running out of time. I got to get $2 money. Please understand, I've got me doing a video of this on the CPT Wealth page on Facebook 5 times. I walk you through it. What you want to do is you want to go download this form. You want to have me up on the screen, and you want to fill it out. Do it 5 times, 5 times a week. This is just the whole one, just like this on that same page. Okay. And then once you learn that, these start do what we call programming. And after 6 months, if you can have less than 70% in profit of value, you can pull all your money out and have a cash flow in profit. We've all, so again, a lot of them are put on these spreadsheets. I'll give you access to these. But I want to get to Tina and money. Let's talk about money. For many of you, there's a stuff called hard money lending. It's short-term loans. It could be anywhere from 10 to 2%. You can still put those things in these forms. Any of these pages and Facebook things, you can go find hard money lenders. They are dying on money on you. I would caution you that are new to do a hard money loan your first time. I'm telling you, sell it to these guys, sell it to them, make it cash, build that up 2 or 3 times before you go and do that. Because if you give Tina enough money, she will give you a loan. Okay? You gotta have, isn't it like 15%?
Well, the rate's gonna be worse than 8%. So
Okay.
it's 25% down is the best.
100%.
But I hear what you're saying. The hard money is the way to get your reserves. You need it. Like when you come to me to get a conventional type of, You gotta have reserves, and you gotta have that 20%, 25% down, or 15%. Then you might have to have one. Lender won't live on a house that has a hole in the floor or a leaking roof, you know.
But will you get renovation?
Yeah, yes, we do renovation loans on investment properties also. And but it's the same type of down payment. Gotta have reserve, can't do the work yourself. You have to have a licensed contractor do it for you. And it depends on, like, I love how you explain how you gotta learn what something's gonna cost, because you're not getting a contractor in this town out to give you a quote. You might be waiting a while, and then that's gonna get long. But the contractor have to give you a quote, we have to approve the quote, and then, closing costs, interest rates will run in line. But sometimes it's what you got, like, you don't have a pile of money, you don't have, you haven't inherited some money, you haven't saved up a cushion. It's how you get started in real estate. But I think it's really important, like you were teaching, to make sure it's a good flow problem. I can tell you all the specifics, yeah.
And this reserve sometimes. Get 25% down, you said reserve.
Reserves, the general rule of thumb is 6 months mortgage payment. So if your mortgage payment is $800, you need to have $2,400 on top of what your payment closing costs. And that can be in a, doesn't have to be liquid cash, you kind of maybe.
And half of that might come from your tenants, right? Because they're gonna give you security deposit. You're surprised, right?
And then there's this thing about seasoning money, so how long does it have to be in an account? How long is that reserve?
Well, it doesn't matter how long it's in there, as long as it's an acceptable source. And on investment properties, you cannot receive gift funds like from a family member. So if that's what you're talking about as far as seasoning, we look back 2 months. 2 months. And, you know, there's also, one thing that changed recently is you can now buy a duplex as a prime residence. If you live in one of a duplex, triplex, quadruplex, as long as you live in one of the units, buy with a common room, this is lower closing costs, lower interest rate. Yeah, it's a great thing that they did, finally. And live in one unit and rent the rest of them out. And they may already have tenants. You can count that as income. But you live in it a year, you rent your good again.
So you're saying if you bought within one of them, and the rents that are counted as over.
Not as reserve, you count it as quality.
Yeah, the minute that property gets a tenant in it, it went from being a liability on your credit to an asset. An income producing property, right? That you only count 75% of the rent. Right?
Yes, we count 75% for vacancy.
You're living, that is one of the best strategies, best strategy to get into. Just go through a whole like living, unit, but you can, down payment, I think is 3.5%. You can buy a house for 3.5% down. Your tenant's paying for most, sometimes all of your mortgage payment. And like she said, you do that for 1 year, you can leave, buy another duplex, buy another triplex quad, and after all, you're going to be living in every single year. If I do what I do now, that's what I would have done for it. Right?
So my wife and I, you know, we just bought a new house in August. However, the house that we were all taught, buy a house, right, live in it, as soon as it's worth enough money, sell it, use the proceeds, buy another house. That is wrong. If you can save your money, you buy a house, live in it a year, maybe 2, save up enough money to buy your second house, you keep this one as a rental, you move it to that one. Now this one, you keep it as and income producing to offset the debt ratio, and now you live in this one for a year or two, and then make it my
And
wife-
tax deduction.
and tax deduction. Now, my wife and I just did that in August. We wanted to move, so we kept our old house, if you will, as a rental, because we had a mortgage of 3.25% from 2020. So we're paying $14 a month in rent, and the place rents for $26.50. And all I did was say, well, how much house can I buy for $1,300 a month? And I went over here and I bought a new house, right? And my out of pocket has not gone up, right? And by the way, is somebody paying down the debt on that now? That house going in value? Yes, right? So that's one of the best ways to get past this illusion about life in America. You gotta buy a house and then sell it and buy a bigger one. No, buy a house, live on less than you make, buy the second house, buy the third house, buy the fourth house. Never sell appreciating assets. Sell your car, it's going down in value. Don't sell appreciating assets. Yes.
Because how did it? What if you took 20 out of it to set you up for your other property and other investings? Can that equity count, does it count as debt towards you, or does it count as income? Well, not really income, but will the rent cover the equity and the payment of the house?
Well, it depends how much rent you're getting, but, it will be counted as debt. So like if you're vacating a primary, this is what you're saying, and turning it into a
Yeah.
rental,
Yeah.
they don't let you count it as qualifying income if it's a positive cash flow, but they let you offset a portion. And that includes the, definitely the,
Equity?
yeah.
Lock credit. $50,000 of equity in your house, on that equity, put 5% down, next down.
Yeah.
Isn't that the interest rate was higher?
A lot of credit is much higher, but it's not cash coming out of your account.
And most of them, if you get a variable rate, they're interest only, and we count the interest only payment. There are some banks like credit unions that, their payment's higher, but you can get a fixed rate, and it is much higher, or you can get an interest only.
This is a great time to say, I've said it before, the path is in the math. It doesn't matter what the actual interest rate is, if the tenant can cover the payment and the numbers make sense, it doesn't matter. Starting with that, because if you got a property that's gonna cash flow $600 a month, or it's gonna cash flow $504 a month, because you're doing 8.5% versus 6.5%, is that really gonna stop you? So don't step over dollars, worry about minutes. Whatever the rate is, run your numbers off that rate. All right, and you will find properties that fit within whatever parameters you have to work with. That is in the math. That's why you've got to analyze these things. I'm like, what's the rate? I don't care. Right? That's right. I got to get it for a different price. Work at that rate. Okay. And then the best part is, if rates go down, Tina's gonna be like, I'll refinance for you. Wait, she'll call you. She'll be like, hey, by the way, look, I can get you 3/4 better rate. Let's go. Your rate went down. You got to call. I promise she'll call you. So it's the worst it can be, and it goes down later. You can get out of it. But whatever the rate is, don't make that stop you. Just run the numbers. Please. You hear me? I run the numbers. Like, don't let that, like, I can't pay 10%. If they're gonna give you a pile of cash left over after the 10%, you mean you won't pay 10%? My answer is yes, I will. Right? I mean, the path is that you've got to analyze it. It's not really what you're worried about. It's, does the whole thing make sense? Okay? And you gotta learn. It makes sense. And you call it, she goes, no, that won't, but this will. No, but that won't, but this will. right? Does that make sense? Like she said, like, I'm like, oh, the interest it's a lot higher to get 5%, but I get to keep 15% of my money? Yeah, I think I'm serious. If the numbers make sense, I'm gonna keep my money. Does that make sense? So look, we're a little bit over time. If you don't mind, a couple things. If you haven't filled out one of the sheets, fill one out real quick. If you want, I'm gonna pull from those sheets, right? And I'm gonna draw if you want a copy of this book, but if you want to use away, okay? Right? Alonso's got her cards. If you guys want to get their information. Also, if you don't give me one of those sheets, and I don't have your email address, I can't send you all these websites and all this information, which I'll gladly do tomorrow. Okay? So, my house for you guys. What did you guys get out of this? Everybody here, you don't mind sharing a little bit. What did you get?
No disposal. No,
So-
laptops, no. Oh my God.
Guys, those games. Love. They don't make them. Don't make them.
That's a venture right there.
They don't make them, man. Oh, they did. The what? Landlord or
Oh,
tenant?
landlord, that was a good one.
Oh, yeah.
And going when they.
And they don't know. They're like, why are you not landlord? You moving?
I
You're
also
moving
have
Wednesday.
flyers about renovation, extra information, and then investment financing.
Any other items? Good. So look, we're gonna go this in March. Okay, I've got a gentleman coming up from Charlotte, got that coach, at, who owns, 28 stores, and he does about $500,000 flips a year. Okay? Alright, so, we're gonna keep this going, just wait for that. We're gonna do what we have things, now, all our cities do well, we'll have that kind of stuff, we'll be sending you those things, also just on add, like, you know, your brews and what's the.
Yeah, that's properties.
Yeah. I think to get this community going, with zero solicitation, let it go. Right, if you can join, you just can't put your product. If you want to reach out, just reach your product. The whole bad is, look at these things. Look at the video. Practice the spreadsheet. Ask questions. Like I want you to post on there, like, hey, run the event, come out. We're all here to help each other. This is good for everybody? Yeah, that's value. So we're gonna be doing these every other month, okay? And then maybe we got one, if anything we can answer for you, okay, let us know. And if anybody had to fill out one of those sheets, we'll draw for this, and thank y'all for coming. Seriously, thank y'all for coming. I hope this was helpful.
No, there's food in there, please eat it.
Yeah, got lots of food, drinks, have at it.
All right, Tina's gonna fix it. Hang on.
Bailey Carson. There you go. There you go. You're very welcome. Thank y'all for coming. Seriously, thank y'all very much for being here.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank Tina for the food, she sponsored tonight, thank you all for coming.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes they give you 3 days. Everyone is gracious. You put a bigger review. Oh, yeah. Jacob is not here actually, I'm not going to. But, you get the two things that you want. You'll find out about.
Yeah, so what we're trying to do is send one, right, we do different things, but the Airbnb now, are, have a tweet Airbnbs, and he has one program. Price. And you talk about that, and you tell people, so anyway, we will do short-term rental, just.
You never know.
If you read that, this is.
You know, analyze properties, do it. To me, that's the hardest part. Everybody's like, oh, I don't know, but just do the hard part. There, that's what you should do.
You just gotta admit, it. I think like you.
Yeah.
We yeah, we never do it, but everybody does. That's not a cheat. You're gonna make. Yeah. Yeah, $23,000. So I'm like, even now to this day, we're still, still like, I mean, we have $20,000 still there. Yeah. And the $30,000 was taken on my rental. You can take it look nice, but. Just give it. When short shingles, making it pretty, brought it up all back that. You see the windows, shingles, you have to. It's amazing.
We started cleaning it and not leaving on the wall. And then.
And then, in this, we never touched the wall behind the kitchen.
So what I'm do is actually, I'll mention it's called C. Just all about all the monthly. All the things, first of all, there, Airbnb will be good. I'll just get one. I'll only get But yeah, what else? Analyze. Right? So it's like, that's.
Last night, and nobody showed up. And it shows up. Guys, you qualified, and there's a 3-year assignment. And we were looking for like $2,500 a month, it was like 3,200 over, looking for, it was like my family's paying for the charts, like. Hey, let's be back with our kids. And $700 more.
My neighbor did that, they were Sweden, Volvo, they came in and Volvo. 3 years. They were very good.
Yeah, and it was,
And they were taking care of the furniture. It was one of the they'll take care of it. They were.
So we are looking, we are funding IX. Every week now, 2 hours a day, I'm looking for activities. So.
Don't call on them, you know, we can, you can make your percentage. More money that way.
The, our goal is, my wife,
Yeah.
and hold to.
Yeah.
Then the rest of us. You know, work 20 hours a week, they earn, and that way we're, just adding, that's our goal. We're making we're meeting other agencies, it's our goal, like 2 hours every week. Just focus, I know.
You guys want
So right now, I've got so many leads from, people from leaders and so many other opportunities. I got one already.
There's those, the board fellows.
So much. Oh.
my 600. But I don't know that. Just,
She had online. She had class. Yeah. And you can't just come in out.
I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, you're welcome to go out, you just can't be properly. This is not the place that, this is the place that it's all roads, all learning. Real estate, an agent, getting it. Just simply go, just break and get that. But yeah, I'm more, we gotta be forward. And then anything above that, right? That's the word. That's my primary thing. So, that's, yeah, that's good. You guys, yeah, get us all. But we are doing, we're doing, there will be some for you, some, because we're doing, that was a pretty good e-foreclosure system. And usually only 2 or 3 weeks. So, pretty good, with us. That's, you that, and we're gonna dial in, and, so I think that's the terms, yes. Anyway.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for this.
Man.
I said, this is Dutch man. Who else is right? I did. I know. Put them already on.
Contract. You take one of those.
Yeah, we're fine. Yeah, we're asking for maybe appraisal for, measurements of the house. Yeah, so the bank, we don't care about the price of the, floor plan I've worked with. Different value on appraisals. You always have to appraise. It's just, yeah. Yeah, she's our admin. So anytime we get a property from a bank or anything like that, part is to cover that, part is value. And they're gonna give you a different square foot range than what's on the review plan. Yeah, no worries. No worries at all. Yeah. You don't have to give it to us. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And that's the people that ask you about doing deck, patio, what are they doing? Yep. Yep. That's it. I haven't got feedback yet. That's the guy, he's been looking at that property for a while. 4 months. I don't know, I know the agent, I don't remember the name of the guy. But, bugging me, I'm talking to her for 4 months. Hey, it's finally got some stuff in there, go take a look. So they did. And me and Katie are out there on Saturday, doing a look and seeing the era. And then, that's what I have. Yeah, I've gotten, 8 or 9 inquiries this week. That's good. And while we were driving by, just taking a look. I got some tire kickers moving. Jesus. Um, and the casino's up and running. Like, the casino's up and running. I know, man, like, why can't I get more people in there?